Anna Nicole Smith didn't just live an ordinary life, she made a whole fiasco out of it. And in true fashion of a fiasco, it had everything that you need, be it drama, money, scandals, men who obviously should have known better, and enough prescription pills to shock an entire medical store. Born as Vicki Lynn Hogan, Anna's early life wasn't exactly sunshine and Marilyn Monroe posters. Her mother, Virgie Mae Hogan, was a sheriff's deputy with a side hustle and a household tyrant, and she stayed pretty true to that role too. According to Anna, Virgie's parenting techniques including handcuffing her to the bed and treating her like a human punching bag. But wait, here's the little twist. Anna's younger brother, Donald Hart, insists that their mother was a lovely, kind woman who never laid a hand on her. This means either Anna had an Oscar-worthy imagination, or Donald spent most of his childhood blissfully unaware in a soundproof basement. So not only was she tortured by her mother, but she was also gaslighted by her brother into believing the woman was a wonderful person. Anna and her brother used to get along quite well back in his childhood. She would often let him hang out with her colleagues as she made her way into her Playboy career. Anna's friend Missy, who we all know to be a fellow stripper and trauma survivor, was one of the only people who believed Anna's stories. She says that Anna had a deep hatred for her family, especially her mother, clearly. So was Anna's tragic childhood just a fraction of the whole story? In old interviews, her mother claimed that Anna once admitted, "Not if bad pays better." Ah yes, the golden rule of Hollywood. Why be honest when tragedy sells way better? Like many future playmates, Anna started her career where broken dreams and bad decisions meet. Where, you might wonder? Welcome to the strip club. So off she went to work at a club where she insisted people call her Nikki. She knew what she was doing. She doesn't need a lot of help manipulating anybody. She was better at it than me, Missy admitted. And boom, just like that, Nikki, the awkward stripper, turned into Anna Nicole Smith, professional hustler. By the year 1992, Anna was on her way up, but when she first showed up at Playboy's audition, she looked like a small-town prom queen who got lost at a park. Frizzed up hair, too much lipstick, and enough eyeshadow to qualify as a hit stuff material. Playboy's former West Coast editor, Marilyn Kabrowski, remembered. At first they were a little reluctant, but all it took was for her to start performing Marilyn Monroe's "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," and then all of a sudden something clicked. And then, guess Gene saw her. They took one look and thought, you know what we need? A blonde who looks like Marilyn Monroe, but can barely string a sentence together. So they signed her, and just like that, Anna became a star. Anna was all about excess. Excess of what exactly? Drugs, money, men, and apparently women too. According to Missy, she and Anna were more than just besties. "I was really in love with her," Missy admitted. She had an insatiable appetite for sex. For Missy, the relationship was more than just a fling. She trusted Anna in a way she didn't trust men. But for Anna, it was all a part of the ride. When her fame peaked, Anna had two major movie offers on the table: a role in The Mask, 1994, alongside Jim Carrey, and a role in Naked Gun, the one she actually took. She wanted to do The Mask, but Hollywood, being Hollywood, offered her an insulting 50 grand. So instead of starring in a blockbuster hit with a soon-to-be comedic legend, she picked a dumb gangster movie where her biggest scene involved bouncing around in underwear. It took 24 for Anna to finally meet her biological father, Donald Hogan. She probably hoped for a tearful family reunion. Anna's half-brother, Donnie Hogan, described their father as a monster. Missy later revealed during their visit, Anna's dad allegedly tried to sleep with her. Even Donnie, who had spent years witnessing their father's insanity, was shocked. "That would be like him, but it couldn't be. I was there every step of the way." Except, for the moments he wasn't. Anna was devastated. She had spent years imagining the father she never knew, only to find out he should have been sent to hell a long time ago. Anna Nicole Smith's life was full of speculation and controversy that followed her to her death. Her first marriage was to a man that paid her no attention. Yes, we're talking about Billy Wayne Smith. Though their child was nothing but a lovely human being amidst all the misfortune he had to go through, he did not have a happy ending. He died a mysterious death with no answers to date. He was found dead and unresponsive in the morning by Anna while she was in the hospital giving birth to his sister. Daniel died at only 20 years of age. Smith and Marshall met at Gigi's, the strip club Smith landed at after failing to cut it at Houston's more posh venues with tighter restrictions for their dancers, like Baby O's or Rick's. On an October afternoon in 1991, Marshall sat agog at the busty dancer, slowly revealing more and more to the schmaltzy twinkle of Chris de Burgh's Lady in the Red. The 26-year-old gave him a lap dance after talking for a while. He invited her to lunch the following day. At lunch, hotel room service Marshall handed her an envelope with 10 Benjamin Franklins, saying, "Don't go to work, my lady love. You don't ever have to go back to work." The marriage lasted 14 months before Marshall passed away. Though she battled Marshall's son all the way to the Supreme Court for control of his estate, she wasn't included in the will and never gained control of his massive fortune. As if everything the woman had already been through wasn't enough, because if you thought her life was a Hollywood soap opera, her death was the entire crime documentary series, and we're not even exaggerating. And her fight against Marshall's son led to no profit whatsoever. Anything you'd find in a top-notch crime documentary was already part of Anna's death investigation. At the center of it all, in the middle of all this misfortune that is, she also had a 6-month-old baby worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, so remember Danny Lynn Hope Marshall Stern, the little girl Anna Nicole had in the Bahamas? Sadly, Anna didn't live very long to be around the child, and well, as soon as Anna died, the world had one pressing question. Who the hell is the dad? Our first contestant here would be Larry Burkhead, a photographer and Anna's ex-boyfriend, and he sounded so desperate to claim paternity, or the huge bag of cash that the baby sat on top of. The second on the list here is a dude called Frederick Von Anhalt, who, if you don't know, is a self-proclaimed prince, and he claimed he and Anna had an affair. Then the third man to claim paternity is Mark Hollywood Hatton, an ex-boyfriend turned stalker. He also suggested he could be the dad, which is a bold claim for someone who has been in prison when she got pregnant. After this, it was time to take things to another level. Cue the great DNA test of 2007. We couldn't just throw away the child's paternity to anyone who sounded more desperate or yelled more in the court, now could we? Especially not when one of the candidates was an ex-criminal. But believe it or not, the results did prove one of the candidates to be right. When the results came in, Larry Burkhead was officially declared Danny Lynn's father. And just like that, Howard K. Stern, who had been acting like a grieving widower and cashing in on her estate, was given a nice kick to the curb. Howard K. Stern. Lawyer, boyfriend, or murderer? And you've gotta say, if there was an MVP of suspicious behavior in Anna's life, it was Howard K. Stern. Why? Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. He very evidently had controlled her money. He even took advantage of her by controlling her medications. And to top it all off, he had convinced her to list him as Danny Lynn's father. People started asking the obvious question, could he been the one behind it all? Did this guy help her overdose? In 2009, Stern was charged with felony drug conspiracy for illegally obtaining prescriptions for Anna under a list of fake names. And in classic Hollywood legal system fashion, he got off with a slap on the wrist. By 2011, all charges were dismissed, which meant he walked free, but his reputation was permanently torched. Which brings us to our next question. Did Anna ever get her money? Ah yes, the J. Howard Marshall inheritance lawsuit. A legal battle so long and ridiculous that it outlived Anna, her husband, and his son. By 2014, the US Supreme Court finally put an end to the ridiculous saga that was Anna Nicole Smith's fight for J. Howard Marshall's billions. And the grand prize? Absolutely nothing. And while Anna had spent the last years of her life swearing that she was entitled to at least half of Marshall's oil-drenched fortune, the court ultimately ruled that love, or whatever version of it she had with an 89-year-old man held together by willpower and supplements, was not a valid financial strategy. What made it even more brutal was the fact that Anna didn't even live to see the final ruling. She had spent years fighting for that money, dragging herself through the most exhausting, soul-sucking legal war imaginable, only to die before the judges even got to deliver their final note. Could there even be a sad ending? By the time the Supreme Court officially shut it all down, everyone involved had either died, retired, or moved on to suing someone else. The entire lawsuit outlasted Anna, her husband, and his son, proving that in America, legal battles can survive longer than the people actually fighting them. But while Anna's estate was left with nothing but debt and disappointment, there was one person in this entire disaster who managed to escape with their dignity. And ironically, it was the one person who never asked for any of it. Enter Danny Lynn Hope Marshall Burkhead, the only innocent bystander in this entire mess. Unlike literally every other adult in Anna's orbit, Danny Lynn wasn't chasing money, fame, or reality show deals. She was just a baby when the world turned her birth into a tabloid circus, and by some miracle, she actually managed to escape the train wreck that was her mother's legacy. How? Well, that's where her father, Larry Birkhead, did something no one expected. He walked away from the spotlight. Instead of cashing in on his daughter's status as a tabloid goldmine, Larry packed up, moved to Kentucky, and raised Danny Lynn in what can only be described as actual normalcy. She's not on social media, she's not acting, modeling, or chasing fame. She only appeared in public once a year at the Kentucky Derby, because fun fact, that's where her parents first met, back when Anna was still alive and making headlines for slightly different reasons. And honestly, that's probably the happiest ending anyone in this entire story got. And with that, we come to an end of the story of Anna Nicole Smith. It is indeed a shame how such a beautiful and talented woman lived such a miserable life. She was so full of potential and zeal, but fate had other plans for her. Like and share this wild ride through Anna Nicole Smith's life, then dive into our other eye-opening story, Britney Spears, her hidden story behind glamour and 50 rare photos, where we unveil the pop icon's journey like never before. And subscribe to ensure that you don't miss out on more jaw-dropping celebrity deep dives.